All right, quick question before we start. Have you ever watched a video about money, scrolled through comments, and thought, wow, everyone understands this except me? Well, here's the plot twist. Most of them don't actually understand it either. They're just confidently using financial words like they know what they mean. And honestly, that's more dangerous than just admitting you're lost. So today, we're doing something fun but actually useful. I picked 10 financial words that are used wrong constantly. We're breaking them down in the simplest way possible. And at the end, or more like during the video, I'll be rating them on TierMaker from S to F tier, ranking which one is the most misunderstood, like the ultimate leaderboard of finance confusion. S tier being this gets used wrong all the time with full confidence, and F tier being still confused, but at least less aggressively. All right, let's go before this intro gets emotionally invested. The first word is stock. Most people hear stock and imagine a glowing green chart, or a dramatic red one if they're unlucky. But stock doesn't start as a number, it starts as ownership. When you buy stock, you're not buying a line, you're buying a microscopic part of a real company. Somewhere, a chair in that company's meeting room is technically a tiny bit yours. Not enough to sit on it without being removed, but still, legally poetic. Next is interest. People tend to treat interest like a character trait, either good or evil depending on their mood, but really it's just the price tag on time. If you borrow, interest is the cost of using someone else's money. If you save, interest is the thank you payment you get for letting others use your money. So, interest is less of a gift and more like rent. Sometimes you pay it, sometimes you earn it. Either way, it quietly controls the timeline of your money story. If interest is rent, then compound interest is rent that starts renting itself. That's it. That's the magic. When interest piles on top of interest over years, it becomes this snowballing machine that grows slow at first and then suddenly acts like it discovered caffeine. People think it requires starting rich, but it actually requires starting early. Time does the heavy lifting. You just have to sit there and not interrupt it. Then we have inflation, the villain with the subscription plan. Inflation means your money buys less over time. A €10 bill won't visually age, but its purchasing power does. And unlike birthdays, inflation happens even if you don't celebrate it. People blame inflation on groceries, but inflation isn't the price increase. It's the value decrease hiding in your wallet like a currency ninja. Market cap sounds like a hat for the market, but it's actually measuring the market's size, not the market's vibe. It means the total value of something, like a company, based on its price multiplied by how many pieces exist. People talk like market cap predicts future price limits, but really it just gives you scale. A reminder that price alone doesn't tell the whole story. It tells approximately one story and leaves the rest as paid DLC. Liquidity is a fancy way of asking how fast you can sell something for real cash without causing financial chaos. Cash is the most liquid. A house is the least liquid, like trying to convert a castle into coins by next Tuesday. People confuse liquidity with income, but liquidity doesn't mean money coming in. It just means escape speed. How fast you could leave the party without knocking over the furniture. Equity is ownership value, but specifically the part that survives after debt leaves the building. You could own something but still owe money on it. Like having 50% of a sandwich but 100% of the bill. Equity is what you actually own, not what you pose with for photos. It's the backstage number, not the spotlight celebrity. Profit is the plot twist of financial vocabulary. It means what's left after costs are subtracted from earnings. It's not sales, it's not revenue, it's the leftovers. The final boss score screen. If money earned is the cake, profit is the slice remaining after expenses take their share. And sometimes the expenses slice looks like it arrived with extra friends. ROI is return on investment, which sounds obvious, but people love to swap the word return with revenue like they're synonyms wearing a disguise. ROI doesn't measure salary, sweat, or emotional satisfaction. It only measures gain compared to what you put in. If you invest 20 and gain 5, you didn't suddenly discover 25 ROI. You discovered math politely correcting you. Finally, bull and bear markets, the financial wildlife documentary everyone narrates incorrectly. Bull means upward movement over time. Bear means downward movement over time. Not temporary panic, not random price spasms, not market emotions with fur. Just long-lasting direction. Think of it like market mood, but without feelings, only trend. And that's it. 10 financial words decoded in a way that hopefully doesn't require a finance degree or emotional recovery time. The goal today wasn't to overload you with information, but to make sure these words finally sound as understandable as people pretend they are online. Now, when you hear someone confidently misuse liquidity or treat compound interest like a get-rich-quick button, at least you'll know you're not the confused one in the room anymore. There's a weird kind of power in actually understanding the words everyone else just learned to pronounce. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.